It's been 55 years since you and I first met, coming to Dodger Stadium September 1st of 1969, putting on a Dodger uniform, playing for 20 years.
So why should Latinos vote for either of you?
Well, I came here over 55 years ago, put on a Dodger uniform, and I think most people know played 20 years.
Latinos like baseball.
Increased attendance at Dodger Stadium by 40%.
And Californians deserve better than that. They're not looking for some MAGA mini-me in a baseball uniform. They want someone who's going to fight for their rights, as I will do. The fact that you think that's perfectly okay, that you still want to support the guy who incited that violent attack, that tells me that you would never take your oath of office seriously, as I do.
30 seconds, sir.
He's stunned.
I've left him speechless.
No?
Yes! This should have been Adam Schiff versus Katie Porter.
For our democracy.
And it would have been a lot better.
Will take on even a corrupt president. Obligation.
But Schiff probably wouldn't have won in that race.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
I'll begin the questioning now. We'll start with Mr. Garvey. Sure. Both of you are running to fill the seat held for decades by Senator Dianne Feinstein. And in 1994, Feinstein famously authored a bill on assault weapons. It was a ban that has long since expired. Now, since then, ownership of weapons like the AR-15, the gun that's most often used in these horrific mass shootings, has exploded, with millions.
This is the first time our first question hasn't been immigration.
If elected, would you take any action regarding gun legislation?
From an actual border state.
Well, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe it will never be overturned, nor should we attempt to overturn that. I do have sympathy for all of those who may have been victims of shootings, but I think that the most important thing is a stringent background check that goes much deeper than it is today in order to preserve the integrity of the Second Amendment and to be able to provide for people to defend themselves.
Mr. Schiff.
Well, first of all, Mark, thank you and ABC for hosting the debate tonight. Mr. Garvey, thank you. It's good to see you for being here as well. We're meeting at a precarious moment in California history when it's Padres won, Dodgers won. But also
this is like a World Series press conference.
Time because Californians are struggling to get by with food costs and rent costs and the cost of medicine. Our democracy is struggling. We have someone who wants to be a dictator on day one running for president. We have the rights of millions of women have been taken away. So it's a precarious moment. We need leaders that can stand up to bullies. We need leaders who can stand up to the NRA. I would support an assault weapons ban. I would support extended and universal background checks. I would support a ban on extended ammunition clips and my own bill, which would strip away the NRA's immunity from liability.
I believe in life. I believe in life at conception. I believe God breathes a soul into these fetuses. So I steadfast in terms of my policies on abortion and also the pledge to support all the people of California.
Gabrielle,
Mr. Schiff, excuse me, I think he mentioned me there.
Go ahead.
Believes in deconstructing the Constitution.
30 seconds.
He believes that democracy is about packing the court. It's about doing away and downplaying the Second Amendment. Constantly, what people of California have told me as I've walked the state through this last 15 months is they believe in the Constitution. They don't want it desecrated on. They don't believe it should be torn down. They want somebody to stand up for the fundamental beliefs of this country.
Mr. Schiff, 10 seconds.
I don't know what deconstructing the Constitution means, but I do know this.
You worked very hard at doing this.
I'm for reproductive freedom, Mr. Garvey. You are not. And right. Californians deserve better than that. They're not looking for some MAGA mini-me in a baseball uniform. They want someone who's going to fight for their rights, as I will do.
Yes, it's for Mr. Garvey. You mentioned wanting to get back to more of a free market. So in that regard, I wonder if you would support higher tariffs on imported goods, for example, from China, as presidential candidate Donald Trump.
That's the opposite of a free market.
I believe it should be a measured tariff situation, where if tariffs on a country should be administered if it is a company that threatens the success of an American.
Words mean things.
I think tariffs aren't the answer. I think allowing American companies and corporations to really survive and to prosper really means less taxation on them so that we can get all these products and services in this country without the need for importing from other countries.
Mr. Schiff, want to address the tariff issue?
I don't support Donald Trump's across-the-board tariffs. Economists say this will lead to inflation. What's more, it'll be essentially a 10% tax on every consumer in California and around the country. That is not the answer.
15 seconds,
One
Mr.
of the
Garvey.
two of us is honest and straightforward.
I would agree with
and
that.
you're looking at him right here. What's happened is that you've hammered away at me at Donald Trump, and you don't know that. Don't really believe I'm a Donald Trump MAGA. But what is true is that
I know your policies
have you
read
voted
like
for George
Project,
Gascon?
I know your policies,
have you voted for George Gascon?
I know
DA
your policies
of,
read
Los
like
Angeles,
Project 2025.
who has been
Mr.
easy
Garvey.
on crime?
I know what I've read on your
We're moving a
website.
little
How about
further.
Proposition
The
36?
last
Are you
question was
voting
about
for Proposition
immigration.
36?
We are done. We're moving on.
I don't think Schiff is in LA.
Mr. Garvey first.
Well,
Mr. Garvey
Mr.
first,
Garvey,
right?
yes.
That's me. Well,
We know.
Americans want someone who is good and decent and ethical, who knows right from wrong, who's capable of telling the truth as the President of the United States. And the choice, to me, is very clear, and it's Kamala Harris.
Mr. Garvey.
I've been trying to paint me for a year now into one corner or the other. And I've said, I'm running a Steve Garvey campaign. I make my decisions based on what I think is best for the people. I did vote for Donald Trump 3 times. I believe he's the best man for the job. We were much safer. We had a better economy. We had more to look forward to. People could dream. But I can't imagine, Mr. Schiff, how you could get up every morning and have one mission, and that's to go after Donald Trump. You've been made a proxy by the higher-ups in your party.
You what?
It's going after him concerning impeachment, all these things. And if you think about it for a minute, how can you think about one man every day and focus on that when you've got millions of people in California to take care of?
Mr.
I think
Schiff.
it's unconscionable. And like I said before, he lied to 300 million people when he was going through that whole process of trying to get Donald Trump impeached.
Mr.
What?
30 seconds.
Mr. Garvey likes that particular attack because that's what Trump likes to say.
I assume he means primary as well.
MAGA viewers out there, hey, I'm one of you. That's not what Californians are looking for, Mr. Garvey. Mr. Garvey, I stood up to a corrupt president, and yes, I investigated him, I impeached him, I led the trial in the Senate, and when he incited a violent attack on the Capitol, and I was there that day, Mr. Garvey, I was there on January 6th as those insurrectionists were breaking down the doors and windows. The fact that you think that's perfectly okay, that you still want to support the guy who incited that violent attack,
There you go
that
again,
tells
Spar.
me that you would never take your oath
There
of
you
office
go again.
Your
seriously,
time is
as I
expired.
do.
I'll give you 30 seconds,
can-
Mr. Garvey, and then we're going to move on. 30 seconds, sir.
He's stunned.
Left him speechless.
No?
Yes.
Because I'm trying to think about all the things that you lost. You know, when you step up and you talk like you talk right now, it tells those hardworking people in California that you don't care about them. You care about something else. And I think that you were banned from the Intelligence Committee. You were censored, only one of 3 congressmen to be censored in the history of the Congress. And if you're elected,
Yeah, Republicans retaliated against
it'll be
him.
the most toxic Senate
You know,
in the
your
history
time
of the
is expired.
Senate.
You know what
And
it tells them,
that.
Mr. Garvey? It tells them that I will stand up and defend our democracy and that you won't.
All right, gentlemen,
Even when you're wrong.
we're going to move on. Can healthcare companies not compete now?
They've been restrained by regulations, and I think that's one of the problems with where we are in America right now is we need to deregulate. Once this administration took over the first day, you saw a significant amount of regulation at all the key areas that affect our lives.
A quick question for both of you.
Can I
There's some.
respond to the last one? Because I was puzzled to hear Mr. Garvey say he was supporting expanding Medicare. Because early in the campaign, Mr. Garvey, you said you wanted to, quote, cut these entitlements. What entitlements were you saying we should cut, if not Medicare and Social Security?
Where are you getting your information?
From you, Mr. Garvey.
No, not from me.
It's
You know,
on-
when this
it's on- it's
campaign
on
started,
video,
when
Mr.
this
Garvey.
campaign started, that first day I announced, you came out with a snarky remark that, oh, he was born on third base, meaning that I came from a wealthy family. Well, let me tell you, let me finish. This is going to be about how you disparage my mother. A hard
I'll fuck your mom.
who got up every day and took 2 buses to go to work, came home and took care of her son and her husband, who she helped get out the door, being a Greyhound bus driver and an invalid mother. So this is what you do. You
I have
lie
nothing but the kind
constantly.
of things to say about your
Let's
mother.
just face it. This
But
is who you are, and this is what you
We're
do.
talking about your wanting to cut entitlements.
All right.
Nobody said that.
I think we're getting a little far afield here. Let's continue.
So why should Latinos vote for either of you? What part of your political platform do you think resonates the most with our Latino community?
Mr. Garvey.
Well, I came here over 55 years ago, put on a Dodger uniform, and I think most people know, played 20 years. And over that time, the emergence of Fernando Valenzuela and
Latinos like baseball.
increased attendance at Dodger Stadium by 40%. And in the last debate we had, the question was, Latino voters don't believe you really care about them. And I think Mr. Schiff said, well, we haven't. And I looked in the camera like I will now and say, when I get back to the U.S. Senate, the Latino community will be my priority, and I will fight for them. And if we get that supply side economics in line and get this vibrant economy, the money will go into their pockets, and then know who really cares about them. In this country now, this administration and the progressives are trying to deconstruct the Constitution. They're trying to pack the Supreme Court. They're trying to do away with the filibuster, do away with the Electoral College. All these things
Based.
are part of this
All those things are more democracy.
in the world, and that's the Constitution. On his watch, all he's talked about is doing away with all of these things, packing the court,
All of that is constitutional.
especially packing the court, right? To take away the real judicial voice of America. And I think that this is unconscionable at a time when we are around the world, never been threatened more, never been in more danger, that you should constantly talk about the Constitution, and now you can deconstruct it.
Mr.
You've
Schiff,
never been in more danger?
abolishing the filibuster.
I'm for abolishing the filibuster because, Mark, if we're ever going to restore voting rights, we're going to have to abolish the filibuster. If we're going to want to take meaningful action on gun safety legislation, with the universal background checks, we're going to have to abolish the filibuster. If we want comprehensive immigration reform, we're going to have to abolish the filibuster. If we want to restore reproductive freedom to millions of women in California, we're going to have to abolish the filibuster. And as to packing the court, Mr. Garvey, in case you weren't paying attention, it's already been packed. It was packed with reactionary justices who took away the reproductive freedom for millions of people. That court ought to be term limited. There should be enforceable sanctions, ethics sanctions, an enforceable ethics code for that court, like any other federal employee. And yes, that court should be rebalanced, because I don't want my kids growing up under this kind of a reactionary and partisan Supreme Court.
To the people listening, both in this state
30
and
seconds.
around the country, what he's talking about is eliminating free speech. This administration is constantly talking about taking away the free speech of the people, doing away with the Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is under attack by Mr. Schiff and his party. That's why you need a voice like mine in the U.S. Senate starting next January.
Mr. Schiff, I'll give you 30 seconds and then we'll move on.
I appreciate that. Look, I don't know where he's getting half this stuff. He wants to abolish the First Amendment. He wants to stop people's right of First Amendment speech. That's gibberish.
Well, it's been 55 years since you and I first met, coming to Dodger Stadium September 1st of 1969, putting on a Dodger uniform, playing for 20 years in San Diego and L.A., growing businesses, family, being involved in...
That's a selling point. I played for the Dodgers.
California is all about. I listened to a song, Someone Like You by Van Morrison, and it reminded me of the day I decided to run. That someone like you is the people of California who've been suppressed and regulated, who need a new, fresh, young voice. Somebody will get up every day and swing for the fences for you, and that you know in my heart and in my prayers, I will be a 6-year senator that'll make a difference in your life, and your family, your future, and your children.
It's home run derby for the Senate seat.
Greatest journey of my life. I need your vote. I will be a 6-year senator that'll make a difference in your life, and your family, your future, and your children.
It's home run derby for the Senate seat.
Greatest journey of my life. I need your vote. Go to stevegarvey.com.
Mr. Schiff, 1 minute.
Thank you again for hosting the debate tonight. I've been very proud to represent California in the U.S. Congress. I'm proud of my record of delivering for the people of California. I'm proud of building light rail. I'm proud of...
Well, for those of you who don't know, there should have been a Democrat sitting next to Adam Schiff tonight, but Adam Schiff's campaign
to build housing.
elevated Garvey
Done again in California.
the way Clinton did with Trump,
That helps us attack wildfires.
the primary in
And
2016.
expand health care to millions of people. Californians deserve a senator who has a track record of delivering, of getting things done for the people of this state. But California also has a right to expect that their senator
This should have been Adam Schiff versus Katie Porter,
for our democracy
and it would have been a lot better.
will take on even a corrupt president, which was my obligation, my constitutional obligation.
But Schiff probably wouldn't have won in that race.